Good evening. Welcome in, everyone. Testing one, two, three. I hope you can hear me. Um, we're going to test this out tonight. I think it's going to work. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. Forrest, Rachel, welcome in to my butterfly. Our mod team is here. Pammy, welcome in. Tricia, same to you. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you for coming in. Um, Pammy, are you and Forrest following one another around this evening? I tend to do that too. I'll bump into you guys all over the place. So, how's y'all's day been? Sound is good. Good deal. Um, I think we're gonna see if I can share a screen here in a little bit. I think I found a workaround, guys. I'm a little yeah. I've been busy. I've been a busy bee. You got the notification. Okay, good deal. Because I've already got tomorrow's show set up and out here in the YouTube verse. So everybody can go over and turn your notifications on for tomorrow's show. That will be tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Time. We will have Bonnie Bell on as our guest. She is the big sister of Danielle Bell, who went missing at the age of 14 here in my hometown, Pensacola, Florida. Over 20 years later, she still has no idea where her sister is. So we're going to try to help her get to the bottom of things. A couple nights ago, Nancy Grace did air her piece on Danielle's story. I was there for the live premiere. A couple of the mods were there with me. There was a lot of things, a lot of questions being asked in chat that Nancy really wasn't kind of getting at. Of course, she's not reading chat. We were trying to fill in the blanks, but I have spoken to Bonnie, and there are things that weren't, discussed in detail in the show that we're going to talk about tomorrow. Get a better understanding of the timeline of events and different things. Because there was a few facts that I was still unsure of after all these years. And I've gotten a lot of information sent to me that I've been really diving into the past 2 days and preparing for tomorrow's show. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to giving Bonnie more of a voice. She doesn't need us to give her a voice because, boy, she's got one, and she's got her accounts on Facebook and on the TikTok, and she's just she's relentless at just fighting for her sister. So I want to help with that process because I remember the day Danielle went missing. And I know how long I've looked around my town for this child. And I know all the rumors I've heard over the years. So when I realized a few years back her sister was now, leading this fight, I was super impressed with her. And so I'm looking forward to that conversation with Bonnie. So you guys please tune in and um, help us get the word out because we're really trying to make the locals wake up, right? People need to realize that was a long time ago, and if you were fearful then, may not be a need to be so fearful now. So hopefully we can help get to the bottom of some things and get it out there. Carrie, welcome in. Pokemon, enjoying that baby still? You know you are. I bet you are spoiling that little grandbaby. I'm just making sure if I didn't miss anybody in the chat. Guys, man, love always truth. Welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. Guys, I don't really have like a planned out show. There's kind of a lot out there. Um, the Reiner death certificates were, put out into the public view, and there was nothing really there. I know I've heard some talk about the times and this and that, but there's nothing you can really glean from a death certificate, right? Just times and a date. Um, I didn't really see anything there outside of drama to talk about. But, oh, you went home, but you got lots of cuddles. Yeah, I imagine. It's probably a special Christmas too, having the baby, you know. All of ours are big now. We don't have littles anymore. They're all big now. Well, getting big, I should say. All right, guys. Um, I watched a couple of things over the last few days. The other day we were talking about it, but I couldn't share with you guys because the internet was all wonky and nothing was going to work right. But I had watched I had mentioned Dr. Drew, a while back when this Nick Reiner stuff came up, or happened, I should say, when he killed his parents, or allegedly killed his parents. Um, and then like within just no time, it seemed like boom, high powered attorney, boom. The next thing you know, everybody on the net wanted me to feel bad about this boy's mental condition. And I'm like, hold on, just because that one guy come out and said there might be a problem, don't mean I'm about to bite into the apple and fall into the depths of hell. Right? Not happening. Slow down. Let's evaluate this a little further. But it got me thinking about Dr. Drew, because I know he was a doctor to the stars, and boy, he had a real big show on CNN for a while there, smacked in between Nancy Grace and the other chick, and they would talk about the celebrities and all their drug problems and all of their fancy little treatment plans. Yeah, that guy. He had some things to say on over there on Brian Enton about it, and I was like, oh look, there's my old pal Dr. Drew coming in, weighing in, and I've actually saw a few. Um, I don't know how you describe them. People like us, regular folks, or people with like a degree or two that have had the same thought I've had, like brakes on just a minute here. There seems to be a lot going on, and we know we can't run out the gate with all guilt or innocence in the moment. I just looked down at my glance, down at my notes. I just cracked my own self up. Sorry. Sorry. Y'all, I can't. Have y'all seen the latest damn slow drip of those messages coming out over there that what's her name, Lauren's, people are leaking out everywhere about Lauren. Well, not people are leaking out everywhere. That's not what's happening. It's a slow drip, one or two per day. Um, Apparently, I don't know where they're coming from. I don't really care. Uh, and it was just about when those texts were coming out, and it just seemed to be about drama. Like, I'm just don't like that girl, and I don't like her, and I don't like her. I'm like, whatever, you stupid ass women. God. Well, I was waiting for the good stuff to come out that really meant something other than I don't like her looks, right? And where we're getting that now. Sandy, you getting some dinner going? All right. I didn't feel like having dinner yet. I kind of ate a late lunch, so I'm going to do a late dinner. Oh, and just right before I went live, I don't know if you're watching, but thank you, because you'll know who you are. You bought me some coffee, and I so appreciate it. And your message attached, man, you guys are really really nice, and you're sweet, and I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate that you appreciate honesty. Yeah, I'm honest to a fault sometimes, but I can only be honest the way I know how. Hey, Sandy, what are you making for dinner? Like, it depends on what you have for dinner. I might show up in a minute. Yeah, I kind of started a little bit earlier than I would do on an evening, but I was like, if they're busy, they'll catch us on the replay. If not, it's all good. We'll figure it out. And there's been no new movement in any of the other cases. There's been a couple of new documents dropped. There's nothing that, well, I didn't even check Idaho docket today because I kind of like, "Ugh, whatever." I've seen a lot of things people are trying to unpack in that case about all the stuff that has come out. And I can just say this, when they finally uncover the truth, I am willing to sit here and listen. Until then, we're going to wait on documents. Just throwing some beef stew in the pot. There you go. Hey, it finally cooled off in Florida, y'all. Like, I couldn't wait. And now I don't like it cold, but I was like, I'm a little over this now. It is December and it's so muggy. But we finally got cooler weather in today. I still have the window open though. I almost made cornbread earlier, Teresa, and changed my mind. Sure did. I was like, nah, not today. Not today. Let me see if I can get this screen share to work. I really wanted to get in here with you guys and test this out because I have this new plan with my cell company and I am testing out this feature, and so far it's working. But I haven't tested it live to make sure we're fluent and we can do all the things. Because, okay, let me. Cheat meal was cornbread. Oh man, y'all gonna make me want dinner now instead of later. Okay. I was watching this girl's I think it was a YouTube short or something. I don't know. I was like laying in bed last night and or yesterday at some point. And I'm just flipping through stuff. You know how we do. And there's this girl talking about how she's getting ready to go to prison and she's getting the house ready and she's getting the kids ready and they'll be gone for a couple of days and then they'll come back home. And I'm like, you get to go to prison for a couple of days a month and go back home and you take your babies with you. What in the world? Turns out it's a prison program. So, of course, it led me down a whole rabbit hole. Do y'all know they have, well, they have conjugal visits, right? We know that. A couple of states here in the United States, and along with apparently in Canada, they have like duplexes set up. If your man's doing 25 years, it's no big deal. You can bring the kids and come stay with him for a few days at their little house they got set up. Got to bring your own food. I don't know how I feel about that kind of program. Let me show. Oh, hold on, let me get the screen up. Nice to hook up. I'm not so sure. Uh-oh. Connection lost when I went to share screen, but let me try it again. Because that's what I'm trying to test. It seems to work way better in the daytime. I don't know why. Maybe because at night, oh, hang on. What's it doing? Maybe because at night there's a lot of activity. I don't know. Ooh. Okay, I don't want it to get too cold, guys. Y'all can stop it with all that. I don't got to put up with the snow like all you guys do, so. Well, most of you guys, I guess. Okay, let's see if I can get it to work now. Okay. This is just a little clip of a video that I found about these prison things. I just want to see if this will work for us.
Where we are, we're standing in a 2 or 3 bedroom house known as a private family visiting area. In this area here is typical of a living room setting, and the inmates and their family members or visitors who are attending the private family visiting have essentially all the comforts of being at home, complete with its kitchen. The inmates and their families, when they're here, are responsible for preparing all of their meals and looking after the cleanliness and care of the facility while they're using it.
I mean, they talk about conjugal visits on TV. It even makes its way into Seinfeld. People may not realize that, for example, if an inmate has a child with his partner, that child can also accompany, as long as there's no risk areas to the child, with the mother into the facility. So
there's a variety of toys and various things to keep the children occupied while they're here, again, to simulate all the comforts that they would have at home while they are away from home visiting their family members.
The vast majority of our offenders return to communities, and our main objective is to correct the behavior that brought them in here, and to provide an atmosphere and an environment that's going to be conducive for rehabilitation as law-abiding citizens. Part of that program is continued contact with family and maintaining the people, the relationship with the people in the community that most likely are going to be supporting them once they're released. So maintaining those relationships and building upon them. And so when it comes time for discretionary release, such as a day parole or a full parole, that they've had that period of time to maintain their relationship with those family members.
I wonder if Dr. John thought that kind of program was a good idea. Maybe he's the one that helped implement it. I think only 3 states do that here in the U.S. I had no clue. I knew the conjugal visit thing, but whatever. I just ignored it for years. Like, whatever. I guess the psychology behind that and all. But then again, see who these psychologists are that are making all these decisions. Ugh, it's scary, scary. Like, I don't even. Mm. I, it's sad when you get to a point where you want to recommend to your friends who may be in need of a little help or support, go talk to someone. Now you got to go, we can't trust the people we're going to go talk to because they might come up with some weird psychosexual evaluation shit. The clip we just saw, Happy, was from over in Canada, but they actually have those programs here in the US, and I found out because I saw a girl on YouTube posting about it. Like, her and the kids were packing up to go see the man in the prison, and I thought, what? And when I figured out that's what she was doing, I was like, whoa. So I researched it, and I think California is one of the states. Go figure. Like, duh, they probably started it. Um, I had an article, I thought. I think it was California, New York, and Washington have the units available where the family can come and stay. So I don't know what type of inmates get to take advantage of that, right? You got to be on some darn good behavior. We don't need no escapees running around. I mean, of course we were for basic human rights, but I feel like that's a little. Are we? What kind of does the crime they committed have a part into how they decide who gets to have those visits or not? Right? I guess in some. I can't see the overnight visits. I'm sorry, you're in prison. You went there for a reason. It's like, oh, we'll give you. You're halfway in trouble and halfway not. Like, huh? Carrie, was it your birthday and we missed it? Well, happy birthday. You was almost a Christmas baby, huh? My son is 19, born 3 weeks before Christmas, and before him, my other three were all summer babies, right? I'm like, oh, thank God, no Christmas babies. Yeah, well, I got a big surprise 3 weeks before Christmas. He don't like it though. He's like, oh, I've always felt bad for him. Birthday 3 weeks before Christmas. What kind of stuff is that? Hey, Dolphin, welcome in. How's your trip going? The agenda is we are just talking. We are going to review a little bit of Nancy Grace here in a few minutes. We're going to try to review the piece she did on Danielle's case as a primer to tomorrow's show. We're going to get there. We're just talking right now. Oh, you're welcome, Rachel. We hope you had a fabulous birthday. But yeah, so apparently in certain prisons you can go and have a more than just a hookup. You can go spend 24 to 48 hours with them. That's insane to me. Okay, let me pull up this next piece we'll watch. I wanted to look at this with you guys the other day, the piece with Brian. Now, Brian Enton's got that one lady, Butterfly, I forgot her name already. Butterfly and I like her. We've been talking a little bit here and there when we see her. She's not your average retired FBI agent that we're used to seeing, the old Jacoff and all that. This lady's got her shit together and sounds like a informative person. So far, I've been impressed with her. She did another interview with Enton, and that's when she mentioned that he mentioned she had a podcast, and I went and found it. I haven't listened to anything on there yet, but I plan to. Your aunt's birthday was on Christmas Day. Ugh. I guess you can't help when you're born, though, right? It would suck, especially as a child having to wait all year for your birthday, and it's the same time as Christmas. I felt so bad for my kiddo, so I tried to do things to make it different for him. Okay, let me get over here to the playlist area. Now, I do have all those messages that Lauren Matthias was, well, messy people. You know, when you got one, two, three good friends, and you might vent or say something here and there, whatever, no big deal. That's what you do with your friends. But when you're the kind of person who's communicating with 50,000 people and you're telling everybody all kind of smack about everybody else, uh, do you never think that someone's going to eventually out you, right? Um, I'm just glad people are finally seeing the real personality coming shining through over there. It's took a minute. Well, I mean, people have known, I guess, for a minute now that that was a fake personality we were seeing over there. But the newer stuff that come out about her husband, and it's not like newer stuff that came out. Someone was finally able to find the document, and then Andy and I were both jumped in head first and found the whole ass document. I think right about the same time, and we were going over that. But his testimony that was going to be had for that criminal case, that is concerning. Like I said, these women talking bad about each other, whatever. Her talking bad about victims, I don't even play that game. And I think I've made that clear. But her husband over here playing Dr. Dangerous. Dr. Dangerous. That might be his new name. Yeah, Rachel, she's just nasty. There's really no figuring that woman out. It's pretty easy to figure her out if you ask me. I want it all. Well, they told Dave. You know what I also wonder? Where's Keith? Keith, knock on that door. You need a follow up interview, sir. You got questions. Because her last Dateline episode, well, they poured it on, like, oh, hot and heavy to Mr. Keith there. If I was old Keith, I'd be like, look, man, would you care to comment? Andy reached out for comment and got nothing. Hell, Lauren didn't mind reaching out to Andy. Hell, Joe Schmo didn't mind reaching out to Andy. Come to our defense. We're not bad. Andy's like, get out of my DMs or out of my email. But so she emailed her back for comment and hasn't heard anything. That's how you do it, Lauren, when you're a real journalist. Would you care to comment, ma'am? No, neither one of them should be around victims. Look, they said it. They're a transactional couple. He may not have known that at the time. She knew that. She knew when she met him and they got introduced and they talked for hours about three different murder cases, and especially the one she was about to jump head into, Lori Vallow. And boy, welcome to the portal, bitch. Lori saw that one coming and sucked her right on in. Exactly, Rachel. Is becoming the way his psychoanalysis of stuff is pretty sketchy. And it can be dangerous, especially what he did in the Dittmer case, right? Or attempted to do. And which, look at Jodi Hildebrandt and all the stuff she was out there doing in the name of psychology and training and therapies. Look at all the lack of therapy Nick Reiner seemed to got, although he paid thousands of dollars from the time he was 14 till he killed his parents, and nothing improved. So these quack ass doctors can sit down for a minute. We're done with it. Yeah, maybe it is mental health in America. Yeah, maybe it's time for a complete ass overhaul. Brad Pitt, baby. I can't look. I never thought Brad Pitt was a good looking guy. I was much older than Brad Pitt. He's a cute boy, but I never thought that man was worth falling all over the floor over. I just didn't get it, which I usually don't when women are like, oh my God, that man over there. I'm like, what about him? Anyway, I never got the Brad Pitt shit. I didn't think his body of work was all that great either. I never watched a lot of his movies. Like, Jesus, man, can you come up with somebody better? Ignore the person they are. The body of work is what matters. That's the name of the podcast, Butterfly. Thank you. Best case, worst case. And that is Maureen O'Connell. And she is the retired FBI agent who runs a big firm in California for security, who has been talking to Brian Enton a lot lately. She lives right there, not far from where the Reiners lived. Let me see if I can, let me pull that up. Well, they got Sarah Azari all cleaned up and got her off the Twitter. Stop fighting with Jacob, Sarah. If you want your job at News Nation, y'all two stop it. And they did. And now Sarah gets to host News Nation and not Jen. Those two were at it for so long on the twits. Let me see if it's this one that I have with her in it. Yeah. I don't know, Sandy. There's a YouTube channel with this best case, worst case, but from what I looked at, they haven't done anything on that channel in years. So I don't know. I think it's ran by NBC. So I don't know if she's on with a. I don't think it's Jim. There's another guy on there, but I don't know who he is. Uh-oh, dogs are barking outside. Okay, let me get to where I'm at here. Again. Girl, Brandon Dolphin. I thought he was younger than me. See, I just looked at him and saw a little boy. I never saw a man. Girl, Jesus Christ. Girl, Brad Pitt is 62. How is he a boy to you? He's older than I am. Damn it. I did not know that. Maybe I just thought he was immature and young. Hell, I don't fucking know. These Hollywood types. I've never been impressed by Hollywood types. Like, I swear to God, I never watched Titanic, and there's one reason why I refuse to watch it. You didn't write the movie, sir. It was a fucking book that happened in real life, and I'm not going to sit there and tell you you were king of the world and put any more money in your pocket because you made a movie about a real life incident. I'm good. That's the way I look at Hollywood. Nah, can't do it. Good movies. I haven't seen one in years. I kind of started ignoring Hollywood a long time ago. Okay, this is the one with Dr. Drew in it. Let me get it to the beginning of their conversation. I don't know. I don't think Dr. Drew ever treated him. Now, I think that FBI agent's getting people talking to her locally, though. I don't really know what all they said in their last interview. Okay, let me see if I can get the screen up. Now, this is about, of course, it's about Nick. Okay, here's Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew Pinsky here on the left. He is um, he's a therapist, but he's like a drug therapist, right? The drug rehabilitation doctor to the stars. Dolphin, you're cracking me up.
With me, Dr. Drew. I've been a big fan of yours for a long time, so it's a cool
Very
moment.
kind.
Cool moment
Happy
for
to be
me.
here. Happy to be here.
But I wanted to talk to you about these latest reports that Nick Reiner is schizophrenic,
Yeah.
and how that may play into what we saw or what he allegedly did and what unfolded with his parents. What was your reaction to hearing that?
It's actually a more complex landscape than you might imagine. Over 50% of people with addiction will be diagnosed with serious mental illness, probably most commonly psychotic illness and mood disorders. They're very common in addiction. Now, how much was pre-existing prior to the addiction? How much was caused by the addiction?
How much was caused by the addiction versus did the mental health problems cause the addiction, which is the way I see some in social media trying to lean it right now. How does a 14-year-old child get to a point where they need an intervention? Um, I know 14-year-olds can get out there and get into things, but I raised 14-year-olds. I was a 14-year-old. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how a 14-year-old needs an intervention, how it got to that point before. I'm not trying to blame parents. I'm trying to understand it, right? I think a lot of times we hear these 14, 15-year-old kids. Oh, it's hard to wrap your head around.
How much is actually just part of the drugs or the drug withdrawal? It is extremely difficult to tell until someone has been sober for quite some time. Now, in the meantime, you're stuck with someone with a ton of psychiatric symptomatology, and you have to treat that. It gets dangerous if you don't treat it. In this case, the term schizophrenia, I think, is being tossed around. I think a more accurate way to say it would be that he had some sort of chronic psychotic illness. And again, the hallucinogens he did when he was a kid, the concentration of cannabis now, the methamphetamine he was doing, all those things can make someone look like a schizophrenic. It makes them psychotic. And treatment is similar. Difference, of course, that schizophrenia comes on age 18 to 22, and it's progressive, even off.
18 to 22 is usually the onset. This man's in his 30s. I would still like to know when the first time a psychiatrist uttered the words schizophrenic. Was it a year ago? Was it 6 months ago? Was it a month ago? That Dolphin, we are always picking up the same thing at the same time. Yes, ma'am.
Substances with substance use disorder. And I also want to point out, amongst those people with serious mental illness, although 50% of drug addicts have serious mental illness, only about 30% of people with serious mental illness have drug addiction. So the point
right there, the amount of people with mental health problems who are not addicted to drugs, right? It's like the ones who come and say, oh, I've had this trauma that led me down this road. What was that trauma? Was it worse than mine? Was it worse than the person's next to you? There's a lot of different things that sometimes it's for fun. They go out, they start trying things for fun. The next thing they know, there it is. But like Dolphin pointed out, these they have a lot of money at their expense, right? They have a lot of what did the nannies take them out to the play golf, goofy golf, or to the the movie theater? Or are they all just let loose on the streets of LA alone with their drivers? What are we doing here?
Point being that co-occurring disorders are very common. The relationship between drug abuse and psychotic disorders is very complicated. But I'm a little suspicious about that diagnosis. It's just sort of, is that, are we saying, I haven't heard the full story yet, but is someone alleging that, at his age, all of a sudden they decided this is schizophrenia? that doesn't make sense to me.
It didn't make sense to me either. All of a sudden, his age, he had the meds. They had to adjust the meds. His meds weren't working. If it was that bad, he should have been in a treatment facility to get stabilized and to get the meds straight. And you got to be off the drugs to make the medications work. We can give him 1,000 pills a day, and none of it's going to work if he chooses to go out and use at the same time.
On the other hand, if they were treating a worsening psychotic illness, that does make sense to me. And it kind of doesn't make a difference which it is. And in either case, the drugs of abuse make things much, 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 much worse.
What about TMZ's reporting that there were doctors trying to get his meds right and that there was an issue with that
Right.
before the alleged murders? What does that mean to you?
It can mean a lot of things. It can mean that they took him down off medicines that were sort of working and he got wildly psychotic. And then they tried to bring back a new, I don't know what they were treating him with, a new combination, and they couldn't do it fast enough, or it was having some sort of adverse effect. So, I mean, the only question worth asking is, if he was that fragile psychiatrically, why wasn't he in a psychiatric hospital?
Boom. Is it more of, no, we can handle this ourselves? I mean, you can hire people to keep it out of the press. I mean, celebrities are in rehab all the time, and we never know about it until 5 years later. Oh yeah, back in 1992, I had a coke addiction. Blah 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 blah. Right? They're very good at hiding it. They're very good at hiring the people to make sure it doesn't get out there.
And part of that is the mess of psychiatric care in California. There are almost no psychiatric beds. We have shortage of psychiatrists. You can't hold somebody against their will in this state, essentially, almost no matter how sick they are. They have to say, I'm going to kill somebody or I'm going to kill you, and I have a plan, and I'm going to persist in that. And if 5 minutes later I say, I'm just kidding, all of a sudden you have to jump back again and say, okay, we'll let you go. So California is an impossible state to treat psychiatric illness.
Well, isn't that crazy? Because I thought they were the forefront of everything. They're the ones that like to produce all these psychologists with all these shiny new labels, but they don't have treatments? Huh. That's crazy. I don't get that. I think Alan Jackson is leaking to TMZ. Do you think? Well, do you think? Right? This is Alan Jackson, Mr. Media Man himself. We didn't learn anything from 1.0 and 2.0, and yeah, we got ourselves a live wire.
Interesting. Yeah. My grandma was schizophrenic. And so, I grew up around that, and my dad had to deal with that his whole life. And I can just remember as a kid, she would be back at her apartment, but then something would happen. We'd have to have her Baker acted. She'd end up back in the mental hospital. And then, suddenly she would get out again, and we would be happy she got out, but then there would be this kind of worry. And I remember it even as a kid, like, it's going to happen again. And it did happen again. And the call would come in the middle of the night that something crazy was going on, and she'd go back in the hospital. And so I sympathize, like, with the whole family thing, because you love your loved one and you want them to be out and happy, but it just seems like kind of it.
It makes you feel bad for Brian to learn a little bit more about him. And when he mentioned the Baker Act, that's in Florida. Brian's in Florida, and Brian's family's in Florida. We do a 3-day hold here under the Baker Act in Florida. And you can Baker Act somebody multiple times. And I got a feeling that's what happened to his grandma. They take you, they Baker Act you, they stabilize you, get you on your meds, and get you on your way under the care of your doctor.
Just repeats itself over and over again.
Yeah. And there is a reality is that some people need custodial care. I'm not saying Nick needs custodial care, but that's something we also don't do in this state. I mean, some people need conservatorships, and nobody except Britney Spears gets a conservatorship in this state. And how she got it.
Dolphin, he actually went to several rehabs in other states. I heard a whole interview with Nick himself talking about it. That's why I'm stepping back from this, oh my God, he's got mental illness, we should treat him with kid gloves and feel bad. Because I don't. Because I heard the interview, and I didn't hear mental illness. I heard a happy drug addict who liked his life. And I heard him say that when I was in, I think it was Maine, at one of the facilities he was sent to, that he liked it there, but he wanted to get out because he wanted to go use, but he knew he couldn't get out and go use there. And when he said that, it reminded me of how we heard he was homeless in Texas. I bet the same thing happened there. He got out of a facility in Texas on his own free will and hit the streets and realized I can't cut it as a homeless person. So then he's over there in Maine, and he realizes, wait a minute, if I play the game long enough, they'll let me out. I can go back home and pick up right where I left off. That's what he said himself. And that's exactly what he did.
All the hundreds of thousands out on the street don't get it is still a mystery to me. But the addiction part of this is really the complicating factor. And I'm going to bet that is the primary disorder, that whatever psychotic or psychiatric disorder is here, it was because of the drugs and alcohol. Either drugs, the damage of the brain, or the pharmacological effects, something here. It all kind of smacks of addiction to me, with some sort of something he did to himself from all the drugs. And that something is usually pretty easy to treat once you get people off drugs. But until they're long-term sustained off substances, it becomes very, very, very difficult.
The report that he was in like a $70,000 a month facility at one point.
Yeah.
That's a
What does 70 grand get you? I mean, can y'all all run out and afford 70 grand for yourself or a loved one the minute you know, things go awry? What are they getting for that 70 grand? A cush place to stay while they recover.
a lot of money. I mean, that sounds, I don't know much about this stuff, but isn't that really expensive?
Oh, yeah. Generally, I mean, he's complicated, right? He's got co-occurring disorder. He's got some sort of psychiatric condition and addiction, and he's been a chronic relapser, and he's tried multiple treatments. So people will sometimes go to these sort of tertiary, quaternary referral centers to try to help. And I understand why they would. But the reality is, when it comes to addiction treatment done well should not cost much money. It just shouldn't. It is, if you're getting charged tons of money for addiction treatment, go somewhere else.
Hallelujah. Because I don't think a celebrity with 70 grand should get better treatment than the person over here with $2. Because the person with the 70 grand probably has no real trauma in their life, when the person with $2 might have had a whole hell of a lot of trauma.
Some of the best programs, we have very few good programs in Southern California, but the best ones, very inexpensive. You have to have a dedicated team of people who are just dedicated to treating this condition, who know it well.
There's the thing right there, sir. You're in California. They're dedicated to money. We know how much it costs for a house out there. I do. It costs way too much money. Like, they're stupidly insane for the smallest of houses. Everything in California costs a pretty penny, so why not? You think they're just going to come out and, I'm going to go set up an office out in Cali, and I'm going to charge minimal amounts for treatment, and just, no, they got to afford the big house too, so they got to charge you 70 grand.
And those people, it's their calling. And so they're not there to charge a bunch of money. And often these places that do well for low income, for low cost, are supported by the community. So they're sort of an endowment as well. So if you're paying, really, in my opinion, if you're paying above like $6,000 or $7,000 a month, take a good look at that. It may be.
I don't even understand how that can cost 6 to 7 grand a month. If the addiction in America is that bad and that rampant, why does it cost so much? They can't afford it. They can't even afford the fix for the day. How are they going to afford treatment? They can make enough money to get the fix for the day on the corner somewhere probably, but they can't make enough for treatment.
You maybe ought to go somewhere else.
So are they just taking advantage of people?
They're not taking advantage. It's that the services. Let's look at it this way. Now, Nick is a little bit of a different case because he's been through so many treatments and whatnot, and I can imagine as parents, you want to go, I'm going to send him to the best place. I'm going to send him where the doctors are expensive, the workups are expensive, the care is expensive, the environment is expensive, the staff is, deep, and there's lots of people there employed. So it's not they're ripping people off. It's just, does it make a difference in the outcome? And generally speaking, it does not. If you're spending a lot of money, the outcome is not necessarily better.
The only thing different about the money is the food you get to eat while you're there and the accommodations while you're at the treatment facility. I think I should look into some of these high dollar treatment facilities. What kind of accommodations can I get when I come check in? Huh. I told a story about a rich kid. I tell a lot of stories. I don't know what the best treatment is, right? Everybody there's different facilities across the country. Some are halfway houses, some are in-house facilities, and some are outpatient. There's just so many different things, but who's got their hands in the cookie jar? Who's running the show? All these different therapists and their whack. You know, you go to one, you're going to get a diagnosis. You go to a second, do you do that with your medical doctors, right? Do we play musical chairs? We always hear go get second opinions. Well, do you do that with this type? Not a lot of none of not all, everybody deals with this kind of stuff, right? To even know what's out there and what's not until like a story like this comes along, then we're like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? You know, I've been on this mental health thing for so long because back when all the shootings were starting to happen all across the country, we couldn't blame a gun, and I never did. Jesus Christ, we're not going down that hole. But since we couldn't blame the gun, we had to blame mental health. Look at how many years later are we still doing that, and look at mental health. So there's obviously a problem with how we handle mental health in America.
How does it go from someone dealing with
Yeah, the other kid Alan Jackson's representing is also another wealthy individual who didn't do any wrong. It was the streets' fault because it's a bad road.
mental illness and abuse issues and whatever Nick was going through to and it sounds like he had some outbursts and stuff, but to like literally like slicing your parents, like
Yeah.
it seems so different.
Well, it's not. When I heard about it, I said this has got to be methamphetamine because methamphetamine causes people to be violent, causes them to pick up sharp objects. Are you in Los Angeles very often?
Sometimes, yeah. I live in Florida, but
All
sometimes.
right. Well, the guys running around our streets with machetes, that's methamphetamine. They all.
That right there, when he said that, there was a case here about, I think it was 2 years ago. It might have been, it had at least been 2 years now. But there was this guy walking around downtown Pensacola. The next thing you know, they got him on camera a couple times down there, but he's walking around with a damn machete, just yielding his machete. He ends up walking into a bar. People had to tackle him, but he looked like somebody who was methed out. But I never knew that. Do they like sharp, shiny objects? Holy moly!
All are meth. So it's not at all unusual for somebody on meth to become violent and to pick up a sharp object. Now, when somebody does it against a family member, they are typically in like a fugue state. And my prediction will be he won't remember what happened, and he will not be lying. And whether that fugue was related to his psychotic illness or meth or both, it kind of doesn't matter.
So sometimes we see like insanity defenses that just feel fake, like it's just someone trying to come up with a way to get out of things. In this case, do you think this really could be an insanity defense?
Well, look, he was clearly insane when he did this, right? But the question is, in the court of law, can somebody show him contemplating that he knew the difference between right and wrong as he was going into this experience?
Hmm. Well, I don't think many people were there when it happened, but they saw the fight at the party, and we know he got a damn hotel room, made his way to the hotel room, and apparently covered in blood, and nobody saw it until some people discovered a bloody bathroom, which I'm still confused about that part. Whatever.
In other words, did he hide something? Did he, was there something about he did that suggested a consciousness of guilt or a consciousness of doing something wrong? I would argue that people who are psychotic are not completely irrational. They still might kind of do something. Like, for instance, when one of the not common, but not uncommon ways in which schizophrenics become violent, they will try to protect their family against some delusion they imagine is going to get the family. So they convince themselves they have to kill them first, right? So I got
Yeah, we like those mothers who do the same thing.
to kill my kids because Satan is going to come and devour them and torture them. This is better. I'll kill them and I'll kill myself. We'll get everybody taken care of here. It's just, that's schizophrenia. And in doing so, they may show some care or some consciousness that they're doing something wrong, but in their mind, they're doing something that's justified.
Mm. But why turn on your parents then? I mean, you think he would do that just trying to protect them, but he turned on them.
No. If, let's say this is a schizophreniform reaction, you'd go, Dad, I have to kill you so the devil doesn't eat your legs. Because it'll be much worse. So I'm going to save you from the devil by killing you. I'm sorry. And I don't think that's what went on here.
Some kind of Lori Vallow shit.
What I suspect went on was just wild violence, which to me smacks of meth.
It seems like in our culture now, like we think of asylums as just being awful, and we think of like what you see from the pictures from back in the day in 50s and 60s.
Yes.
And I even think of like with Nick's parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good look to like put your kid away. You know what I mean? It's almost like, oh, that you think that's not nice. They just didn't want to work on it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But do we need to have a conversation in this country about that issue again? I mean, do some people just need to be in a locked facility?
Yes, sir, they do. Oh, God. I got a running list of those people. Man.
I don't know about locked, but at least receiving custodial care or somehow, structured residential treatment that they have to stay in. And if they improve and find their way out, they can appeal to the court or whoever the authority is to get out.
Yeah, I don't think Nick was trying to. I don't think Drew's suggesting Nick hurt his parents to protect them. He was giving an example. But yeah, no, that's not what Nick was doing. He wasn't in that state of mind where, oh, I'm going to protect them by killing them. I think the fight continued in the kitchen from the party. Maybe he still wasn't right, maybe he was asking for money. Who the hell knows what happened in that house? But yeah, it wasn't to protect them for sure. It was to it wasn't getting his way at the moment, maybe. I don't know.
They get some vocational rehab, they do well for a long period of time. We know how to do these things. Look, psychiatric hospitals today are beautiful. The people are, they're luxurious. People don't want to leave sometimes because that's one of the problems with them these days.
Oh God. You don't want to leave. It's safe here.
Ken Kesey wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1959. That was 75 years ago. We're coming in on 100 years. Do people not think that psychiatric care has changed in 75 years? Of course it has. Of course, massively. We can do a lot. We had no medicine back then. We had only restraints and structure and things such as that, and just time in a facility. Now we can bring people in, get them through it. I worked in a psychiatric hospital for almost 35 years. I'm telling you, this bias we have that it's some sort of torture chamber is anachronistic. It's anathema. It is so bizarre that when people were watching One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, first of all, they don't understand that was 75 years ago. And secondly, it was not a documentary. It was not a documentary about what was even like then. May have reflected things from the 30s. There were periods where it was awful. Don't get me wrong. Excuse me. But we have to do something about it. We have to build psychiatric hospitals. We have to train more.
I went to the hospital once. I kept having this serious pain in my stomach. It developed slowly. One day I'm standing in the Dollar General with my little boy and it hit me, and I didn't think I was going to get out of that store before I fell out. I got home. My mom was there. I dove onto the bed. Okay. This went on for a little while. I went to the hospital 7 times in 7 months, telling them something is seriously wrong with me. This is not normal. They ran test after test. We can't find anything. One doctor had the nerve to tell me, well, honey, we think you got an ovarian cyst, which was farthest from the truth. But that was his best guess. And he says, we can't see it. But there was a time in this country when women like this were just called hysterical women. Sir, I had a bleeding ulcer and was on death's door, and y'all couldn't figure it out until the last minute and rushed me into emergency surgery. So, yeah, it was just a hysterical woman episode. Back in the day, like Drew's talking, way before anything. If a woman had a bad day, there she goes. That's a hysterical woman. And you know what? It hasn't changed much from that these days. You get on the internet and you say your peace of mind. Oh my God, she's a bitch. Oh my God, she's cranky. Oh my God, she hates everybody. No, I just speak the truth. Can't you?
Psychiatrists, you have to create residential beds. And when it comes to on the addiction side, I know RFK Jr. wants to create these work farms, which would work beautifully once you get the people stabilized and push through certain levels of care where they can stay at these sort of structured environments, focus on their sobriety with their peers for years, which is what Nick would have needed. So in Nick's case, the schizophrenia aside, just from the standpoint of his addiction, if he were breaking the law, he should have gone to jail. And if he had gone to jail, it might have gotten through his denial and he might have gotten well. And let's say he spent 2 years in jail, he's going to be spending a lot more time in jail now, right? So if you have a loved one that is doing these things, bring consequences to bear. It can save their life. By the same token,
if you bring those consequences though and you let them back in your home, they run the risk of harming you. That's such a it's so easy to tell people cut your loved one off, and that's the right thing to do, but I know that's really, really hard for some people, especially when if it gets real bad. I don't know what, but can you imagine if you put everything else aside, all the treatments, all the things. So from the time this kid was at least 14 that we know of until 32-year-old grown man, so that means most of their lives they've been battling this boy's problems and hiding it from the world. I wonder how many of their close friends knew this boy had problems. And that other FBI lady, she kind of goes into that a little bit.
You, the family members, need to go to a codependency program of some type, and you have to check in with your codependency sponsor every time you contact your loved one. Every time. Because all your wonderful parenting instincts, or if you're a sibling, your instincts for your brother or sister, will all be subsumed into the illness, and all those good instincts will be used to maintain drug use.
Yeah. Right there, because that family dynamic, right, is so hard to cut that tie, and then they will use it to get back in. And I wonder, the night this all happened at the Reiner household, was it just a matter of Nick not getting his way in the moment, or was it another minute of they met in the kitchen and it just started again from the argument? We have no way of knowing. If he got that hotel room before that party at Conan's, what was he even doing back at the parents' house? If he apparently didn't need money because he just went and got himself a hotel room. So he had access to some money. So I don't imagine him standing in the kitchen saying, I need $20. I need $100. And Dad's like, fuck off. Not tonight. And I don't think that would have been the cause of the whatever happened in that kitchen. I could be dead ass wrong about that. He was probably really wanting to fix after all that had happened. Who knows? He may have had plenty on him. We don't know that either. He could have had some stashed at his house. So I don't know, what caused the fact that there was a fight, before they got back to the house. I feel like it may have continued once they got home. Oh, thank you, Happy, for becoming a member. She says, I realized I wasn't, so I had to fix that. Well, thank you for becoming a member, and we are glad you fixed that. Green is my fave, she says. We like it around here, too. It's a nice look. It's a happy color like you. I don't know. What do you think? Do y'all think that um, it'd be interesting to see how Jackson decides to? Um, I don't know if he's going to put mental health on trial or rehab on trial or both. Right? Look away. There's mitigating factors here. And that other guy he represents is Fraser Brom. That's who we were talking about. The other kid out of California, the one who ran over the Pepperdine University students and killed them. Yeah, a little affluent guy. What happens if you don't have money for those high-powered attorneys? And I also wonder who called Alan Jackson, or did Alan Jackson call them? I don't know. Ambulance chasers and stuff. Which y'all's guess? Did somebody reach out to Alan Jackson, or did Alan reach out to them? Is Nick's trust fund going to cover the cost? Because you know it's coming. We can't have. We're not holding fundraisers for this guy. Sorry. I don't want to see Alan Jackson ask one time, or anybody on the internet, to ask anybody to donate to this guy's defense fund. Please don't do it. If y'all do, wow. Yeah, he does suffer from affluenza, Dolphin. Remember that one kid, Ethan? What was that his name? Little rich kid who caused a wreck and ran over all those people, like 4 or 5 people, and killed them all. And he was 16, and come to find out, he was living in the mansion alone, and his parents just threw him lavish parties. And his attorney come out and said he was a victim of affluenza. Spoiled little rich kid, didn't know no better. Kind of like the Murdoch boy who killed Mallory in a boating accident. We just didn't know no damn better because we got money. Oh, I thought y'all were supposed to be more educated than the rest of us because you got money. You're supposed to know fucking better because you got money. Money's the root of all evil, and I don't like it. I just soon set it on fire. That's how I roll. But the people at the bill company, they actually like the money, so I can't burn it all. If it was up to me, I'd set a big old bonfire in the backyard and watch it all go up in flames. I don't fucking deal with money. I don't like it. I see people out there that can't get enough of it. And then they're so unhappy though. It's like, well, I thought you were going to be happy the minute you got some more money. You're not. What happened? This enabling continues. I mean, I guess if you think your kid got better for a minute and then you start giving them some freedoms, we don't know any of the stories that went on between 14 and now. And I'm really avoiding watching a lot of. I haven't watched TMZ in a minute. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was around when TMZ launched. I know a lot about who they were before TMZ became TMZ. I've always taken them with a big old grain of salt. They can talk about a murder case one day and the celebrity drama and who got caught at the grocery store wearing their wrong colored Birkin. You know what I'm saying? Simi, are we the same? I tell you, that dollar bill does not make me a happy person. That's not contingent upon my happiness at all. All right, let me look up this one video that we're going to look at. Okay, let me get it pulled up. Yeah. Yeah, people can give who they want. Somebody did ask me on a comment yesterday on a post I made if Danica Troy's mother had a GoFundMe, and I did share the link in that post. I had to go make sure it was still up, and it is. So I did share that out because I don't usually do I'm not, first of all, I don't contribute to defense funds of anybody, but I will contribute to a family who is in need. Um, I don't think anybody's going to come run to my defense fund if anything ever happens. I'm not even sure some of these YouTube lawyers will take my call. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, get a lawyer up. Like, I'm trying to call you, but you're not answering. I don't got enough money, do I? Oh, damn. We don't talk about that enough. The cost of these attorneys. They're just telling us to lawyer up, like, oh, yeah, we can run out and do that. He could be on retainer, Riley, but he's a high profile criminal defense attorney. He's not just going to sit there on a retainer. You know, they got their legal lawyers and they got their this and that lawyer, their financial lawyers, and all the different things. Do we got a criminal defense attorney on retainer just in case? Hell, that could be true. Yes, we ride at dawn. Oh, Dolphin, I ain't gonna complain if I win the lottery now. It ain't gonna change my life a whole lot, I can tell you that. It might be able to change what I could do for others, but it's not gonna change a whole lot about my life. Okay, let me. Let me find the right one, guys. Hold on. Okay, I found her. Let me get it to the beginning of their interview. He began interviewing her right after this happened. He had referenced a few times in videos in the past about a source being an FBI agent or a retired FBI agent. I think this was her all along. Because once he got out to LA to do this story, somebody hooked them up. He said that much in his very first video with her.
Time a lot in law enforcement. And then Michelle Reiner was 1546, so a minute.
12, yeah.
Yeah,
Hold on.
been made public, and there's a it's just the nature of what happened and what's important to the investigation, but blood splatter, blood evidence, how key that is going to be to this investigation. I'm getting into all of it in this episode of Brian Ensign Investigates. I'm joined now by retired FBI agent Maureen O'Connell. She's also co-host of Best Case, Worst Case podcast. I appreciate you joining me again, Maureen. It's always so nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
I wanted to talk to you about some of the latest on the Nick Reiner case, some of these new details that have come out just over the last couple of days, and it seems like every day a few new little details seem to trickle out. I was looking at the death certificates today, and they've both been made public, and there's a I thought it was time of death, but I think it's likely more the time when they actually discovered the bodies. But what's interesting is it has Rob Reiner's listed as 15:45, which I guess would be like 3:45 in the afternoon.
Minus
And
12,
then
yeah.
yeah, and then you would know for that's you guys probably use that time a
Mhm.
lot in law enforcement. And then Michelle Reiner was 15:46, so a minute later. Do you and you've told me before you thought that he allegedly killed Rob Reiner first, but do you think that's what this is telling us?
Yeah, it's exactly. They just They have to market the way they see it, and they have to market when they see it. And for example, we know that Romy ran into the house and saw her father first. So he was likely, right on the floor or something inside the doors to their master bedroom. Maybe her mom rolled off the bed on the other side, and maybe that's why she didn't notice her at first, or maybe it was just too shocking, which is also totally understandable. So then she turns and runs out, and thank God she did, because as horrible as this situation is, at least she didn't get to see her mom like that too, because my heart just bleeds for her, and her brother, but particularly her in this instance. So I think that's, they found him first. They tried to render aid. They tried to determine whether or not he was still alive, which he probably obviously was not alive, because that's a very bloody mess, as Jim Clemente outlined yesterday. And also, then whoever was in the room with him, let's say it was one.
Oh, maybe she is partnered up with Jim, guys. I didn't hear that part.
It was probably just one or two paramedics, and they come in, and then you're focused in on that first victim. You look at that victim, you're trying to make a few determinations, and all of a sudden you sort of back out a little bit. And it's hard. You have to train yourself to not be hyper focused on what's in front of you. So they come in, they see Rob Reiner. Then when they back off just a little bit, they may have seen blood on the other side of the bed as well, and looked over, and there was Michelle Reiner.
Were they found in the kitchen or the bedroom? Did we ever find out where they were found out in their home? Because if they were in their bedroom, what was he doing in their bedroom?
Or something along those lines. We don't know that to be true, but the blood evidence will tell us a story when, in fact, all that information is in and out. And they push out the report.
How do they determine what happened based on blood evidence?
Well, for example, if we're let's just talk about
Yes, real happy. It's the same lady he had on the day after. It's Maureen is her name.
just so I don't have to be so graphic for everyone, let's talk about a separate murder that's happening with a hammer being impacting someone's skull. That first strike, nothing. There's no blood there. You can cast off the hammer, so you can hit a skull once, reach your arm up like this. There's going to be no blood spatter because the skull hasn't started to bleed yet. The second time you come down, boom, now it's in blood. And now when you lift it up again, you're going to find that cast off material on the ceiling or the walls or wherever you are. So in a knife attack, if someone is slitting another person's throat, that's up close and personal. And there's not going to be a lot of cast off per se until they start doing the frenzy jabs and lifting their arm out and back in, out and back in. If we're assuming that Rob was killed first, the knife and the blood around him is only going to have his blood on it. If Michelle, her throat was slit second, then there would be Rob's blood and Michelle's blood in that cast off material.
And that's how they would know who was killed first.
So that's how you would tell who would be done, who was killed first versus second. So when Nick went in there, allegedly, to kill both of his parents, he would likely go after his father first so that he could neutralize that threat. Because according to other reports, when Nick would get completely out of hand, his father would bear hug him just to hold him, just to stop him from causing damage or whatever else he did, during his life to disrupt the family. He seems to me to be the type of person that would just suck the oxygen out of every room he walked into and had no problem and felt no remorse for doing so.
Yeah, Simi, we'd heard the daughter came in and found her dad and then apparently ran out. We don't even know if she saw her mom at that point. So I don't know, if she just didn't see her because she saw him and this is probably a huge house, and if they were in the kitchen, there's a big island, she may not even have seen her. Or if they were in the bedroom, if her mom was on the one side of the bed, I don't know. You know what I mean? From what I heard, she didn't see her mom in the very beginning. She just saw her dad and ran out of the house. So, um, if they were in separate rooms, though, see, we haven't heard which room of the house they were found in yet. And if they were both in the same room, if they were, did one witness the other one's demise, right? Ugh.
But if his father was neutralized first, then we would, if we were looking at that blood evidence, we would expect the majority of the blood evidence initially around his father to be only the blood of Rob Reiner. And then if his mom woke up and started to fight him or try to stop him or do anything, at that point he may have tried to neutralize her.
That's amazing. I never thought about how much you can figure out from like blood splatter and whether the blood's mixed together.
Yes. Well, with blood spatter, you can
Brian, I don't know if I believe that. You've been doing this a hot minute.
tell how many times they were stabbed, even if you don't have a body based on the cast off. If you have a good cast off pattern, there you'll be able to see the different sprays and the different angles, and the actual blood droplets point give you the directionality of the blood.
Do they make that determination based on pictures?
Oh, Simi. No. I wonder who would that one fool be?
Like some kind of investigator later, or do you have to actually
Yeah.
be there in the room to figure it out?
They can do it with pictures, but they'll also they take very very detailed photos. The photos are all to scale. They can they do sometimes they'll do diagrams. Now it's all done largely with computers, and it's very very it's fascinating. It's very interesting. It's just fascinating. One of the reasons all those years on the evidence response team for the FBI, one of the things I just loved most was the learning. I am just a student of life, and I love to learn. And if I could still be in college, I would still be in college. I love it so much, and I love science. So I would go to any class like that I could, and I just absolutely soaked it all in.
Did you have to go into, I mean, it all just sounds so gruesome. I'm thinking about the Reiners and sort of blood splatter everywhere. Did you have to go into scenes like that?
We did a couple of times. We went in. We worked with the one of the LAPD's homicide groups. Our evidence response team did for a couple of years while I was there. I actually developed the program because their SID group was so exhausted, and it was a small group and they had so much going on. And I said, hey, we've got great training, we've got great skills. We can throw 15 bodies at a crime scene for you. And it was a very symbiotic and great relationship that it really benefited our team to have that. We did a couple of burn cases where bodies were burned in these vehicles. We did a case where a young girl was dismembered, and a number of others.
We talked once before about the blood that was found in the hotel room where Nick was allegedly went back to stay.
Right.
I'm still trying to wrap my mind around why there would be so much blood there.
Me too. How it got there and how he got there. I mean, do people in LA just walk around oblivious to the people walking around them? Because when I go out in public and I'm walking around, I'm watching everybody around me because I have trust issues and I'm in true crime all day, every day. Well, we just don't trust people. So I watch everybody around me like, oh, don't follow me home.
Well, I was thinking about that too, and I was watching the videos again, and Brian, the one thing I noticed was, to me, it was weird that he had that red satchel or backpack on when he was in that convenience store when he got into East LA to score dope or whatever he was doing there. And I just thought, I wonder if he chose the red one because he took off his bloody clothes, put them in the red backpack, and then brought them to the hotel room to clean them up, like in the shower, and then realized it. Talk about a bloody mess. It had to be a bloody mess. He probably never really cleaned up after himself much as a child. I just don't have an image of him being a.
Do you think? I don't think he ever cleaned up anything as a child, more than likely. I'll never forget that time I had a kid at my restaurant. I'm like, honey, can you sweep the floor? Dead ass looked at me in a seaside community full of rich people and said, I don't know how to sweep. I, You're 16, baby. You don't know how to sweep? No, I don't know how to sweep. Let me get the broom and I'll show you. And I guess when you go home tonight, tell your mom the lady at work taught you how to sweep the floor. Jesus Christ. I don't care how much money you got, teach them a little bit of responsibility. So, y'all think he put bloody clothes in a red backpack? Did he change at home? That's consciousness of guilt. I'd like to know what kind of evidence is there in that home that he may have changed or done anything, because we don't know anything yet, right? But how did he manage to get all the way to that hotel unseen? We know with no blood all over him. I don't know.
Responsible kid that's making his bed, doing his own laundry, or anything like that. And anyone that's had to clean a lot or do laundry or a blood, even if you have like kids that are in football or hockey and that you get blood all over the place, even a small amount like 1 ounce, it's a lot to clean and it makes a big mess. So it brought my mind to, and part of this is I didn't see the blood evidence. If I could lay my eyes on the blood evidence, or once we get to trial and I can see exactly what that sheet looked like, or what the transfer impression was on the bed, or what the towels looked like, how bloody were they actually. But for the cleaning crew to be able to see the blood in the shower stall tells me that he may have just gone in there because it was too messy in the little sink in the room. And then he said, I'm just going to go in the shower and clean it all in there. And then finally just said, screw it. And I don't know, maybe he put them back in that red backpack. I don't know if they retrieved that red backpack, but it didn't appear to be dripping or anything like that. So I don't know what he did to get rid of those bloody clothes, but that could be another reason that the hotel room was so bloody.
So I'm assuming no clothing was found in the hotel room, just blood evidence. Now, with all the cameras around that area, we don't see him dropping a backpack in the garbage anywhere. There's none of that. We don't know what they have. As a cop, one of the first things they should have done was collected all the footage in and around that hotel. How does he get to the hotel? Is he on foot? Is he in car? What was he doing? Jacob could never give all this detail, Butterfly.
At the house where it happened, in addition to the blood evidence, as a crime scene investigator, what else would you be looking for?
Well, the fingerprints, bloody fingerprints, shoe impressions. I would look, as I talked to you before, about, there's such thing as a void, where if I'm in a stabbing frenzy, like I told you, there's going to be blood flying everywhere. And there are many instances where you can see the outline of the person's shoes who is the assailant. So, when you look around and you see that there are no other shoe prints, well, then Alan Jackson can say someone else was there all he wants, and it's probably not going to happen.
She's she coming in hot against Mr. Alan Jackson. She's like, I got something for you, sir. Bring that nonsense today. Just because I liked him in one case don't mean I'm going to like him in another. Will not jump on the bandwagon and jump for every case he goes after, because I got a feeling any high-profile case in the future, we're going to hear about Mr. Alan Jackson. That's okay. That's okay, because good attorneys are needed, but I can't be convinced that every client you represent is automatically going to be innocent. Mm-mm.
But I did want to mention something else that creeped into my mind. You know how when people joke around, and when it's a person who's much stronger, much more the alpha to the other person, and they're goofing around, threatening each other, but in a total goofing around way. It would be like me and my older brother or something. I would say, you've got to sleep sometime. Like, you can't do anything to me. And then the response is, you've got to sleep sometime. And that keeps coming into my head. Like, I'm wondering if he was thinking, his dad has been able to just control him with a bear hug or whatever all these years. And he thought, you know what? There's one place you can't control me. And that's when you're sleeping. We all got to sleep sometime. And I just kind of got the chills when I thought of that.
Yeah, there's something It's awful no matter which way you look at it, but thinking
So with the press, here's the thing about Alan Jackson. He's not stupid. The coming out and letting things out in the Karen Reed case was going to benefit. It's not going to benefit here, I don't think. What are you going to do? Are you going to put your reputation? So there's already a lot of drama surrounding the Karen Reed case and social media dramatics, right? Do you want that in your other cases? You didn't learn your lesson the first time. Come out of here and start feeding information to podcasters and trying to convince me before a trial these people are innocent, and I'm done. I'm done with any case you got going forward. You better play it right or you're going to be exposed. Ask Lauren.
about them sleeping and just being that vulnerable and defenseless.
Two
Just
people that loved each other so much and loved him so much, and to do that. And
yeah.
apparently, did you hear the reports that he apparently wanted money for a movie? That people were saying that, and his
Yeah,
dad was saying no.
I saw that. Yep.
And he just doesn't like it when people say no to him.
So apparently he was wanting to make another movie and wanting his dad to back it financially. But this is what we're just hearing, right? Who knows? I don't know where they heard that from. Is it just Tinseltown talk? Because people around Hollywood know people who were actually friends with them. You can't hide it from your closest friends that your child has a problem. And she's going to come up, bring a good point up here in a few minutes about what type of kid this kid was. Like, did he show? Y'all know, y'all, there's that one kid out there. You see him coming to the party, you're like, oh God, was Nick Reiner that kid? But people wouldn't tell the parents because, we're friends with them. We don't want to really tell them how shitty their kid really is. Ugh.
Is that mental illness, or is that someone who hasn't been told no much?
Do you think that they have the murder weapon?
I have no idea. I have no idea if they do, but
Do you
if
think
they
we
have
see them
the
looking more though? If they didn't, would we have seen them out?
Carrie says she wonders how long he had it planned out. Is that why he moved back in? I don't really know when he moved back in, but he was living in the guest house from what we've heard. I don't know. I don't even know if he planned to do anything. I honestly don't think it was a plan. Like, I'm going to go to Conan's party, start an argument, get into a fight, then I'm going to go home and kill the parents. I don't think it was an actual plan. I think it just happened. But that doesn't mean he didn't know what he was doing, right? You can, in the moment things happen, but I'm not buying that he didn't know what he was doing.
Looking in trash cans and stuff?
they would have been out looking in trash cans. So I don't know when that trash gets picked up actually, but they definitely would have been looking in trash cans. It's just a great investigative tool. We use it all the time for every type of crime you can imagine.
Yeah, because I was just thinking if they didn't have it, even down near where the hotel was, like, I would just think we would have had some image of them searching for a couple of days, if they didn't
Well,
have
hopefully
it.
they got the bloody clothes and the knife in that hotel room. I mean, that would be nice. I hope they have the knife, and I hope.
Y'all think he would have left all that in the hotel room, especially if he's in and out of lucid consciousness, right? Um, I don't know if he would have left all that in there. If he's like, oh, I'm just crazy, I don't even know how I got these bloody clothes in this night, but let me just leave it here so I don't get caught with it. Dude, welcome in, Carolina. Welcome in. Good to see you.
Hope to have the clothes because it shows also that he was well aware that what he did was wrong. Otherwise, he just would have left it at the house.
Mm.
Why would he hide? Why would he take his clothes off? Why didn't he show up there all bloody? And what's with the Uber driver? Or he could have walked there. He probably walked all the way there. But maybe he took an Uber from the gas station.
She's like, she's trying to figure this out in real time. We need to get her over here and talk to us. Come have a conversation, lady. We got coffee. We got coffee.
Down to the Pierside Hotel. But he could have walked. It's not a
There,
short walk.
there's these new police reports that are out that show that police were called to the home dating back to 2013. It was like 2013, 2014, 2017, twice in 2019. There was a call.
Booking the hotel could show premeditation, but when I say I don't think it was planned, I don't think it was planned out over weeks, right, or months at a time. It wasn't like that in my mind. This is some heat of the moment shit that all went down. I don't know why this man got a hotel room if he had a home in the backyard. Why do you even need a hotel room, right? But what if he was having some sort of disagreement with the parents before the party and he's like, I'm just going to go to a hotel, then how did he hook back up with them later to go to the party? Oh, son, just come on home, go with us to the party, get out, you'll feel better. Then he shows up in his fucking hoodie and you take him anyway. Something's not right. We're missing something. We're missing something. We are not getting all the information yet.
All about a battery of family violence investigation.
Does that
What does
surprise
that say to
anyone?
you? No, does it?
When this thing first happened, I said to a number of my colleagues, we are going to find out that there have been many calls for service to that house, and that's either with police or fire or whatever, or paramedics. But I knew that he was going to have police show up at the house because what happened that night did not happen in a vacuum. The pre-incident indicators here I knew would be like a parade of red flags, and here we are. He had these outbursts. My other question is, how many of these stints in rehab were a result of criminal behavior that he should have been taken into custody for, but they worked out a deal where he could go to rehab, and probably a rehab of his choosing,
Mm.
because there's a number of rehabs where you can go in and just, score dope and get high for the majority of the time that you're there. So was he choosing rehabs like that? Was he allowed to choose those rehabs?
Here, I, I know that I agree with everything y'all are saying, but here's my thing about this. If he's pissed because dad's not giving him money for a movie, why wait till after Conan's party and a fight to kill them? If you were pissed about some money for a movie, you could have killed them before the party. I'm just not totally convinced he's pissed about some money for a movie in this moment. There was something happening that night, and it escalated again once they got back home. I just feel that in my bones. Dirty paws, dirty paws.
Or did his parents choose the ones for him? It sounds like he ruled the roost to a pretty good extent.
Well, and what I was thinking is how many times were there violent outbursts or threats or whatever where they didn't call the police?
Exactly.
I would just, you and I were outside that house. It's such a fancy neighborhood. All their friends live there. You'd imagine there were probably times where they didn't, it was probably embarrassing.
Absolutely. But what else is in his background that he has perpetrated upon other people but was never held to account for whatever reason?
Exactly. How many times has he done stuff? And how many people in Hollywood who know he's capable of doing stuff will come out and tell their stories? Oh, yeah, that one time when I was growing up, me and Nick did, this and that. Um, it's obvious that, yes, this boy was never told no. A lot of these kids aren't, and was given all these rehabs and stuff. You know what I mean? I don't feel like this guy was just mad about some money for a movie and decided to do them in to get an inheritance, because you'd have done it a little differently, I think.
We're going to find out a lot about that, I think,
What do you mean? What do you
when
think?
trial comes. I want to caution the audience about coming to all kinds of conclusions about whatever is said on the courthouse steps. I would rather you put a lot more weight.
Yeah, Pokemon, we're hearing that, right? That she says, I bet he was making quite the scene at the party. Now we've heard that, and with the Bill Hader situation, I mean, the minute that news broke that there was an argument with Bill Hader, I think I was in a, was it a Court TV, Law and Crime. I don't remember who I was watching in the chat, and I noticed they're all blaming this Bill Hader guy. It's Bill's fault. He did this. I'm like, what in the world are they talking about? Because he had some words with the guy. Now, why are we in a what is wrong with society where we take somebody who does something horrible and then we look for all the reasons why they did it to deflect from why I don't, you know what I mean? Of course, there's always a reason, but it just doesn't make sense sometimes for these reasons. But this kid has obviously never been told no. He wanted what he wanted. But I just feel like this, whatever happened that night, was a fuel ragey thing. He's because he probably thought, like, think about it for a moment. If he'd have got his shit together for 5 minutes, he'd have got that money out of his daddy. They don't tell him no. They might have been in the moment, no, or son, we'll work it out, we'll think about it, whatever. Who knows? He'd have got it eventually.
To the testimony that's in court that is said under oath, because you can't lie under oath without grave consequences.
Well, when somebody that was actually at the party speaks out, other than a source here and yonder, because we've heard this fight was, or these words at this party was, I've heard many different things about what this alleged fight was about. And I honestly don't care. There was an argument at this party. He had words with other people. They all saw him acting very bizarre and strange. And then they go home and the fight continues. It really don't matter to me what the fight was about. It's always been a fight about money of these people, I guess. Here we go again with that damn money.
Pretty much for anyone that's going to get up there and speak. So let's focus more on that and give that a little more weight, and the police reports and everything like that. Because Alan Jackson, his MO, as we all know, is to really spin a tale on the courthouse steps.
When he said on the courthouse steps, the one time he spoke, he said,
I almost spit my coffee out, like legit. Oh man.
it was a tragedy, but he urged people not to jump to any conclusions, which I thought was kind of an interesting way
Yeah.
to kick things off.
And that was the day that he was in there on suicide watch and wearing that suicide vest and everything. And he told the court, "You can't show my client in the suicide vest." And it's like high theater practically.
High theater practically. You can't show my client in his prison garb. We're so over that mess. Yeah, we've heard he was Sandy, that he was socially inappropriate, especially when you're on um, substances, right? Now you can imagine. I don't drink, so people at parties they tend to drink, and that's okay because America accepts drinking in a real big way. They always have, but that's fine. But drunks can become belligerent too, and you can't argue with a drunk. So it's the same thing with a person on drugs. Was he hitting people up for money? We know, hey man, I got this movie I want to make. You want to chip in? They're like, dude, get away. You're a little odd. It could have been all about money. It could have been just you're weird. What's wrong with you? You know, who knows? Yes, Dolphin, we heard that. He was asking people if they were famous. Like, you don't know. That's the stupidest question to ask people at a freaking Conan O'Brien's house. Dude, you grew up in Hollywood. You know who these people are. So that tells you he was messed up that night. And what none about that boy's head was right. He was on the shit that night.
But back to what you were saying a second ago, I mean, do you think that Nick Reiner has like assaulted other people before and we just haven't heard about it? Or what were you
Yeah,
sort
I'd
of
be
alluding
shocked.
to?
I'd be shocked if he hasn't. I would be shocked.
Wow. Do you
I mean,
think
when you're the kid at home that your father has to bear hug to control you over and over, I forget which family friend was saying that, that he was there. He witnessed that a number of times when he was 12 or something.
I know that didn't start at age 12. There's no way in hell, because I know a kid like that. And it starts much younger, long before the drug abuse ever kicked in. So what was wrong with this little boy that we couldn't get a grip on? Are we, is the stigma still there? We can't take our child to get therapy at 5, 6, 7, 8 because people might find out, but then we'll just unleash him on society when he gets grown and hope for the best. That's what happens. If you're bear hugging a child to control that child, to get it to calm down, you I've raised 4 kids. I've never had to bear hug one of my kids to get their little ass to calm down. Never. And if I had of, we'd have been on the way to the doctor with the lights and sirens and all. We're coming to get some help.
It doesn't seem like he grew out of any of that. So if anything, it's gotten worse. I mean, Nick is a big dude. He's not 5'4" and
Riley, that is horrible. Riley says a belligerent drunk killed my son's friends Saturday before Christmas. Oh, holy cow. I am so sorry. That makes me mad. Like, my children know, mama don't play. New Year's Eve, please stay home, right? I get so worried because there's just too many people out there who just drink and drive and do not care about people. So I am so sorry. Hopefully, us surround that family with love and light and send them. And I never, all I can send to people who've just lost a loved one is I try to send them peace and comfort because I know from experience there's nothing else I can do for them except try to provide some peace and comfort and hope and pray they get there eventually. So that is so sad. You think Sandy, does he sound a bit Aspergerish to you? He could have had, but these people have a lot of money and they have insurance. They have, like, what kind of therapies was he in as a child, if any, right? Before the intervention at 14 that Nick spoke of himself.
100 pounds. He is a big man. He can throw his weight around.
Do you think he was abusive to his siblings too?
I don't know, but I will tell you this. One thing you learn in law enforcement is that however the situation looks when something happens, like when I do consulting for all kinds of crises that happen to people. And I'll say, however you're looking at this now, it's going to be very different in 24 hours, 48, 72, whatever.
Crisis. Oh, you mean like them Hollywood types that get in a little bit of trouble? Like, hold on, whoa, 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 we'll spin it. Hawkeyes, thank you for coming in. Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, I get that they're not as recognizable, Dolphin, but if they're at Conan's house, they're probably going to have some money in the pocket. Whether or not they're famous or not shouldn't matter, right? But that was just shows me Nick's just being weird and on drugs. You're being weird right now, sir. Go sit down.
But it also changes over time. I think the siblings over time, once they're removed from this situation where they're walking on eggshells and playing, whack-a-mole for their whole life, I think there's gonna be a change of heart. I could be wrong, but I think at some point they're just gonna be like, wow, I was just in a trauma spiral as the result of his actions. Even if they do believe that it's 100% because of mental illness, there's no way that they're going to come out of that unscathed. And I know they did it out of compassion, and I know the parents did it out of compassion because they're kind, compassionate people and they're good people. But I just think that Nick just sucked the oxygen out of every room. I can only imagine the birthday parties he went to as a kid. It's,
Oh,
there's always, not always, but there's sometimes that one kid where you're like, dude, pack your shit and get out of here.
I love this lady. We're like, we see that one kid coming. Lordy, lordy. Yes, everybody is sending you some love, Riley. I hope you can send that to your son and his family. Such heartbreaking, and especially this time of year, right? That happened here over 20 years ago. These two sisters were on their way to a church service on Christmas Eve and were hit head on by a drunk driver, and that was the end of both of them. And that was the most horrible thing I'd ever heard of at Christmas. I cannot do. Here's the thing about me. You I've always said this, and I've said it for over 20 years, because when I got my driver's license, my mom handed me a quarter. Back then, we still had payphones. If you decide you're going to drink, you better not drive that car, because if you better not worry about the cops, right? Because trust me, my mama was terrifying. I was not dealing with the cops. But if you hit me, you need to hurt me, because I'm coming out and I'm going to be the one going to jail. You're going to need the ambulance, because I can't. Like, don't hit my car drunk, you fool, because I'm about to beat you up before the cops get here. Ugh, it's horrible.
Right.
No one wants your drama.
Well, and it's, I think since I last spoke to you, I don't think we had a chance to talk about it, but there's reports now that people at the Conan O'Brien Christmas party wanted to call the cops on him, and that like they were saying, "Oh no, no, don't do it," kind of thing. So it was
And these are,
obviously it must have been somewhat serious, whatever he was doing there.
yeah, and think about that for a second. You're at a party, it's a cocktail party, you're at Conan O'Brien's, it's great, fabulous people are there. I'm sure the music is great, food, drinks, everything. And this person comes up to you and death stares you and is just like, "What's your name?"
Right.
And is getting this close to your face or whatever. It's frightening.
She's like, "What's your name?" Was he doing that to people, right? Going up, that's what we've heard. He's going up and he's asking people, "What's your name? What do you do? Are you famous?" Like Dolphin was mentioning, and they're like, "Dude, get back off. Rob, get your son again. Time for the bear hug."
And he's a big dude, unkempt and disheveled. It would scare anyone. But for people at that party, like the Hollywood elite, to want to call the police, that in and of itself is shocking.
Hey, a little bit of Lisa. She says, could Nick have thought he was networking in his drug induced mind? Probably, but he knows a lot of these people, so he has the network in place. He's just being weird because he's high as hell on drugs at the party. I will be shocked if he wasn't high as hell at the party.
They don't like calling the police. That's not their culture.
Mm.
So it had to be on the continuum. It had to be up there.
What do you think about the insanity defense in this case? Um, he seems pretty insane in a lot of ways, but then is that mental illness or is that something he brought on himself through substance abuse? And
Riley says she acts like she was there. I think people who were there have talked to her. She doesn't live far from the Reiner home. She owns a big security firm in California. I deep dove her. The minute I saw her the first time on Enton's show here, I was like, "Oh, hold up, who is this?" Before I listened to her. I mean, I listened, then I needed to know more, and I went and found out more. And so I think she might have talked to some people that were there.
how do you think all that plays out?
Well, there seems to be um, a coordinated effort to make all of us believe that it's the meds. They couldn't get the meds straight. They couldn't get the meds straight. If you're using meth or heroin or smoking weed or all the above, it doesn't matter if the meds are right or wrong. You can't get them right. And that's his choice to take those drugs in addition to those meds.
So think about what Nick was doing at the party. If he was high on drugs, nothing he did at the party is going to make sense in our minds, right? The things he was asking people, getting up in their faces, this being bizarre. None of it's going to make sense, especially if the person is on substances, right? You think she reminds you of that? What was her shit? What was Nicole's sister's name? Little bit of Lisa. She kind of does look like her now that you've said that. I was trying to figure out why she looked familiar to me. You're right. Um, Maybe that's why he entered Bill Hatter to get help getting his project off the ground. I don't know. I can't imagine. Look, here's the thing. If the dude was wasted or high at all, nothing he's going to say is going to make that much sense. Like, I don't care if he's asking him about money for tobacco movie or if none of it's making sense to people. They're all just like, "Dude, you're high. Get out of here." There's just no telling.
You can't blame all that on the meds. I don't know. Is he crazy? Is he not crazy? Is he a petulant man-child that's always gotten his way? Who knows? I don't know. I don't have enough information right now, but I think a pretty big chunk of it is petulant man-child.
Hmm.
But we'll see. I'm going to wait until I want to hear what the expert testimony is in trial. I really hope and pray that they put the trial on television so that we can all see and make up our minds, so that we're not just spoon-fed information, as I said, on the courthouse steps.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Put that stuff on TV. Let us see it. Don't give us a hot mic moment. Don't let John Matthias testify. We don't need none of that. Yeah, Rachel. I mean, if I don't know, on the regular, a lot of us probably don't deal with people who are on things. But man, if you've ever had to deal with somebody who is on things, there's no talking to them. Nothing's going to make sense, right? What you say to them is not going to be interpreted correctly or make sense, and nothing coming out of their mouth is going to make sense. And you're going to obviously know there's something wrong with them. You were thinking Angie Dickinson, policewoman, Simi. That was some damn good TV, wasn't it? That was before Cagney and Lacey. She was the original policewoman. She was badass, actually. If y'all don't know us, because we're old, so we know.
You live
Be-
right down the street. What's the vibe right now? I mean, are people, so when I was there, everybody was talking about it, like everybody know them in the area. Has it
yeah,
settled down?
I don't live right down the block. I don't live in that high end area, but I live close by. But
You live pretty
um,
close. I went to your place.
pretty
It's not that,
close. I know,
yeah.
pretty close. But he,
Brian's like, oh, no, no, I went to your place. It was pretty close. It's a pretty big house, lady.
um, it's died down quite a bit, but people are still in shock. It's still a shocking situation. People are talking. There's a lot of talk about we need help with mental health, which we absolutely do. Um, no matter what happens, I just don't want him out in the streets in 5 or 10 years because
We don't either. Yeah, Pokemon, that's a good question. She says, do you think this will even go to trial? I don't know. Does Alan like to take plea deals? What kind of plea could he take, I wonder? Right, Dolphin, he wants to know the neighborhood gossip. We do too. Get her back on here. We like her. Um, yes. Simi, we're not the only ones who remember Angie. Oh, gosh. I was just a little girl and I used to watch that show. I was born in the late 60s, so. I was born in the summer of love, legit, June of 67, and my parents weren't hippies. They were far from it. Okay, well, that's really, they don't really have a whole lot more conversation there, except for what we've already seen. And there's just a lot to unpack with that. There's a lot of layers to it, right? And I think it's complicated as far as Nick himself goes and his past, but I don't know how AJ will approach it. I'm not saying that his defense would be wrong either. I got to wait and see what it says, how he plays this. Um, I'm going to be interested to see how he does. Um, how he does decide to carry this defense, right? Hawkeyes, you think you're older than me? Okay, you're June of 64. All right. Just by a few years. We're good. Sandy, you're just got me beat by a couple years. That's all good. Dolphin. Yeah, the thing about those asylums, if they're like Florida's, you get to be evaluated every 6 months to see if you're okay again. I know somebody who has to go through it because her nephew is sitting in the Florida maximum security mental health hospital. for murdering his mother on New Year's or Christmas Eve. Um, I can't remember what year it happened, but yeah, he got sentenced, and he's not fit to go to prison. So Brandon gets to go to the mental health facility, and now Pam has to go every 6 months to watch her nephew be reevaluated to see if he's better. What he did to his mama wouldn't nothing about that kid's gonna be better for a long time. And then look at the Morgan Geyser situation. They found her, mentally incompetent and all the things, send her to a mental facility instead of prison, let her out early, she's good to go, and then she cuts the ankle monitor off. We got to stop it. We got to start being a little more diligent about who we let out. Riley says, how do we know who's the youngest and the oldest in here? Who knows? I think we're all about the same age. It seems like it. Yeah, Hawkeyes, think about that. Their other children, you're right, that are now mourning the loss of their parents. And who knows how they feel about their brother? They could feel some type of way about him because of all that's happened over the years. But it's sad that because when addiction takes a hold of someone, it can ruin a whole family. They can suffer in silence for decades, right? Um, and then when you got a grown person, how do you get them into treatment successfully and keep them there? I don't know. There's a lot to unpack with these mental health treatment facilities, I think. Right? A little bit of Lisa. She says back then TV was written as if the audience had sense. And now they act like we don't have sense and we got to be told everything. Like, I get so discouraged sometimes trying to watch a newscast. They want to go and explain stuff to me that's like, why are we discussing that? Like, can we get to the actual topic? Because that's common sense shit right there, man. You spend 30 minutes explaining it to me and I already know. It's so weird. So weird. Yeah, we're a group to be reckoned with. You did have to be in the house at a certain time to watch something if you wanted to watch it, or you weren't going to watch it, right? This is all there was to it. Everything had to be done by whatever time it was coming on so you could sit down. Um, oh goodness, I don't know what y'all talking about. Getting overwhelmed and frustrated. I don't know. I just happened to see that comment. I didn't know what that was about. We all watching commercials? Now, y'all, some of them commercials crack me up. Sometimes they're better than TV. I don't really watch TV anymore. Well, I watch my uh, Hulu and Peacock if I'm going to watch TV, but I love a funny commercial when it's unexpected. They'll just make me laugh. Butterfly says she used to watch the Waltons. Good night, John Boy. I always felt like they didn't give Mary Ellen enough credit. Like, man, leave her alone. She's gonna be a nurse. Yeah, I don't have cable TV either, Sandy. I'm not doing it. I get Hulu because it's free with my phone service. Woohoo! I don't even do the net. Well, I may have to get Netflix back because they are going to be doing that Elizabeth Smart uh, special over there, and I do want to watch that. I really do. I follow everything Elizabeth Smart. That's because I was looking for that child for 9 straight months until she was finally found, and I've watched her journey ever since she was finally found. Man, oh man, talk about strength and dignity and honesty coming out of that one girl. Mm-mm-mm. Butterfly, you're a baby. She's still 5.5 years from reaching 60. I'm close. I was looking at it. I'm like, what age do I have to be to start getting like senior discounts and stuff? You know what I mean? I think it's different at different places, but I'm like, shit. If I can get a senior discount, I think I want that. She's still wet behind the ears, Forrest says. Sorry, my connection tried to go away. I don't even, oh, I think I'm back. I gotta. Right? They do rock for us those discounts. I just had a little notice that my connection was lost for a moment. So if I went away for a second, guys, that was why. But we should be completely good to go in the morning for our show at 10 a.m. It's already scheduled and out there. You guys go over and hit the thumbs up, and tune in tomorrow if you can. Um, I don't know how long Bonnie will be with us, but I've got a lot to present in the morning. There's a lot of information out there about the case that we're going to go over a lot of that and really hone in on the timeline and facts about the case, and so there's not misinformation out there. Because like one little fact that Danielle was seen. Well, one person claimed she left this park on foot the night of that she disappeared. That's not true. She actually got into a vehicle and drove away. So we are making sure we get all the correct information out there. Out there viewing. Okay. All right. I think the internet keeps going, no, lost connection. But since I do have this new thing with the phone service, I can do this thing where I get this high speed data to the phone. And that's what I'm using right now. And so far tonight, I've been able to present things on screen and we haven't had a glitch at all. Um, so I'm hoping that that's our workaround now. And we'll be able to carry everything on in the morning and have a good show. Yeah, if y'all can't make it to the live stream tomorrow, you can always catch us on the replay. Um, Bonnie Bell is Danielle's sister, and she has a TikTok account and she has a Facebook page, Missing Child Danielle Bell. And I remember when I realized that she was out there doing this, and I thought, wow, because for so many years we've been wondering where this child went, what happened to her that night. So the fact that she's out there being her loudest champion, right? The loudest voice her sisters got to try to get to the truth. Truth's there. It's just a matter of somebody saying something. Yeah, Hawkeyes, the bandwidth exactly, and I feel like when I'm In the mornings, man, this thing runs with lightning speed. I can be sitting here all day and doing whatever I want and go live at night and it's like, oh no, not happening, right? So it's also a lot of that too. Yeah, Butterfly, do you still have the link to Bonnie's pages in the Discord there? If we can grab them real quick. Hold on. She does have a YouTube account, but she's not on the YouTube account as much. It's mostly on her Facebook page. There you go, Forrest. Thank you. Um, y'all go check it out. Follow her on the Facebook or TikTok, whichever you prefer. And just get just and share the show out because like I said, Nancy did a piece the other night. What did it air Christmas? uh, can you guys hear me? Okay, I'm back. If I go to pull the screen up right now, I can tell I do have it. My signal isn't as strong. When I go to pull a screen up, that's when it goes a little haywire. I was going to show you guys the Nancy Grace piece. Um, maybe let's grab the link for that. Let me see if I can grab it and drop it in here for you guys, and y'all can check it out if you want. I was going to share it with you, but oh, thank you, Butterfly. There you go. Mods have got me. Um, there's the link to the Nancy Grace show. And Bonnie was so grateful for her to do that, right? Because there's not a lot of national media attention out there, a lot of these cases. And it looks like Nancy did, oh gosh, what, Butterfly, 3 or 4 episodes on missing over the holidays there. And Danielle was one of those. So we do appreciate Nancy doing it and getting it out there. Um, I'm not saying Nancy did a bad job. There's just not there, just some of the crucial information wasn't there. So we are going to get into that tomorrow. Yeah, Hawkeyes. We're gonna watch Nancy because she's did the show about Danielle. Lauren Matthias about Nancy Grace. She kind of predicted something though. She's like talking about how she needs to get her a desk and do this and that. I'm like, and they were all like just having a chat up about how Lauren said Nancy needs to get a desk. And well, did y'all watch Nancy Grace cover Idaho 4 in the beginning? Guess what she did? She plopped a whole ass desk in front of the house in the snow and sat out there with her big fur coat on and did a live broadcast from in front of the Idaho 4 house at her desk. It was kind of weird. Like, did you need to go through all that? DJ Autistic, thank you for coming in. Yes, I am planning to hold a live stream. If we can stay awake, we're going to. We're kind of old around here, as y'all might have guessed. We all were doing a show the other night and all of a sudden start yawning for no reason around 9 o'clock. But yes, I do plan to try to do. Well, I do plan to do one. I don't know what all we're going to do. We might just chill and talk and y'all got any suggestions y'all want to see or do or talk about, throw me a bone. Yes. Yeah. That's right. Sandy says 9 p.m. is the new midnight. And I heard they got this new giant ball down there in New York. I'm not from New York, but I used to watch it all the time when I could stay awake. I still do stay awake that late a lot of times. I don't sleep like the average person, but sometimes I do take a nap. Trivia. What kind of trivia? I don't know. Y'all, I'm not a real good entertainment creator. I talk true crime. Uh Rock Talk did one the other night. I don't know how. You got to give me some. I don't know what we do. Maybe I can find some games. Maybe I can get put my thinking cap on and figure it out. We'll see. But I heard they got this the ball that's going to drop or whatever, the one that always drops in New York. I don't know what you call it, big ball. Yeah, it's got some kind of special thing this year. I don't know. I just saw it. I saw a little bit about it. We'll see. Are we gonna watch? Hey, are we gonna get in trouble if we like what's that? Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, whatever that is. Like if I show that, will we get in trouble? We can all dance to Dick Clark's music. Oh, oh, I don't talk to too many other channels, DJ. I don't play in that realm. You know what I mean? I don't. I've not heard anybody say anything about you being a troll. You can be a troll all you want, just be a cool one. We get one every now and then. Nah, I haven't heard anything, dude. I don't talk to a lot of creators, and if I do, I'm very transparent about it. You won't find any of my messages being leaked out eventually. Lord. Oh, Riley. Well, if you can't make it, we completely understand why, and our thoughts will be with you. She's saying, um, New Year's evening is the visitation for her son's friend, and New Year's Day is the funeral. That is so tragic that they got to start darn connection trying to go out. Every time I go to write stand by and chat, it comes back up. All right, guys. I think I'm going to let you go for the evening, get this internet some rest, so then in the morning I can be good to go. I got a few more little things to streamline for the show tomorrow, um, so we can go through everything in order. I got most of it done, but I just got a little bit left to do that I just want to make sure. Breaking up a little bit, yeah, my internet's getting tired. It's getting cranky. I guess a lot of people may be live right now, versus when the bandwidth is sucking up out of here. But I've already got the show scheduled for tomorrow, like I said. So you guys go over, turn your notifications on, all the good things, give everything a thumbs up, and do all the YouTubey stuff, um, and we appreciate it. And I appreciate y'all coming in and hanging out with me for a little while tonight. I was bored. I wanted to do something. I'm like, I need to test this out, see if it's gonna work. Um, I don't want to have a guest on and it'd be a shit show. So I appreciate everybody for coming in. Everybody send Riley's son, friends, family, all the love and peace you can send them, and hopefully they can feel. There's not a whole lot we can say for them except hold. So we will definitely be doing. All right, everybody. Well, thank y'all for, and I will see you all back here in the morning. Y'all know, stay safe on them YouTube streets. It's a little dangerous out there, and avoid all those weird doctors.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from Little Yas to